What's maybe one thing that somebody should keep in mind to improve their webinar content? Is it the strategy? Is it the design of the slides? Or,
Yeah.
where would you say to put a little more effort?
Yeah, I had a good year and a half of playing around with this idea. So some of the optimizations that I tried to bring to the table with webinars had to do with, um, moving us away from the very traditional webinar that we knew in, like, the mid 2000s, 2010s of, like, "This is our presenter, these are the slides that they're gonna talk through," like, end of discussion, like, hardly acknowledging the audience. And so one of the things I tried to do was like really work with the presenter who is going to be a subject matter expert that's very technical, who probably doesn't care that much to be like seen as someone that's like highly engaged with the audience. And so like I felt like I was often like the interpretation layer of like I took it upon myself to start hosting some of the webinars. We have a webinar team, and so they do the bulk of our webinar presenting, but like in SMB I was able to kind of take on the role of host. And so, like, we were always experimenting with like new engagement tools. And so, like, running our polls and the questions and the Q&A and just creating this live component of like directly engaging with the audience to help them engage more deeply, not only with the webinar, but also the resources that were related to the webinar. And so, whenever we run a webinar, we have like a set of assets that we're hoping that they will engage with in addition to just listening to the webinar. And so, there's always this component of like trying to drive people to dig deeper into our solutions through like, the extended, reading material that we would provide. But then also just like being there to like, I'm watching the chat while the webinar is happening and I'm relaying these to the subject matter expert or answering them on my own with my bit of like engineering and industrial experience in my past. Um, so yeah, it's, I, I feel like there's a sentiment that people think webinars are just sort of boring and dull and old. And I really fight that because one, they're live. Like a lot of our webinars are live. And so like it's this really unique opportunity to like speak with someone that you might not normally have access to. As someone that's interested in a Siemens product, you can talk to the guy that is running our NX CAD program. Like, here he is. Like, ask him questions. Like, get the inside scoop, and he probably will give it to you. So like I think there's a lot of value that people leave on the table by just treating webinars as like an old thing. I find them really engaging. Like if it's a subject that you are interested in and want to learn more about, there's like no better way to like do a deep dive than talk to the dude that's running NX
Totally.
CAD.
When I think it goes to, active versus passive, right? I think the
Yes.
old motto was this passive, like, "Hey, sit back and relax. You're gonna watch a webinar
Yeah,
and,
there's that.
take notes or whatever." But it sounds like you're making it more, active where,
Yeah.
"Hey, check out this content and,
Yeah.
engage in the chat, take the poll, tell us what you think,
Mhm.
ask a question." I mean, that's huge.